guys, thank you so much for coming. George, thank you so much for joining us for our member lunch. So George is the CEO and founder of Honeypot, which is an amazing dating app. George, can you tell us about Honeypot, just in a nutshell?
Yeah, in a nutshell, Honeypot is a dating app that connects people in the moment very spontaneously. It's all about right here, right now. So whatever you're up to at this point in time, you check into your location, an area like Farringdon, and you would see who's also available to meet right now and meet them 15 minutes later for a coffee. So that's the premise of the whole dating app.
Sounds like an amazing concept.
Yeah, it's cool.
So you guys are the world's first micro-dating app?
Correct. So micro-dating app, we're a new breed of dating app that very much focuses on, as I said, in the moment. So these are small dates, very in the moment. That it's all about, that we're all about sort of deformalising dating. So micro-dating is using small snippets of your day that otherwise might be wasted to enjoy a low stakes, low cost meet-up rather than that whole formal date that has a lot of pressure attached to it.
So instead of stressing for an hour or so beforehand, drinking too many glasses of wine.
Exactly. You know, the current dating apps, you match with people and, you might organise a date, a week in advance. Yeah. And what do you say in between? There's all the small talk and there's the back and forth. How do you keep that spark going? And the peak of excitement when you match with someone is that moment when you match. It's like, oh, great, got a match through. And then it's sort of, there's a bit of, hey, how are you? And it's like, great.
And you've run out of things to talk about by the time you meet.
You've run out of things to talk about. And then there's the pressure attached to the date for that. You think, right, I'm going on a date next Thursday. What am I going to wear? What aftershave am I going to put in? What do I say to them? You're almost giving up your whole evening as well because you arrange drinks, you might arrange dinner. It's very, very formal. So I think people should be more open to meeting more people. I could say casually. Casually is probably the wrong word to say when it comes to dating, but just very much whatever you're up to right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So would you say it's been a bit of a challenge trying to get people to come onto the idea of meeting instantly?
Correct.
Rather than in a week?
Yes, we're bringing out a new dating app, and it's a new an app. The market is very saturated at the moment with dating apps. There's lots of things out there. But we're selling in an app, but we're also selling a new concept, this way where it's okay to check in and say, I'm available right now. And people are not used to that. People are used to the formality of how it's currently done. So it's educating people on this new way to do things.
Absolutely. And how long has it been in the making? It's
been about a year now. So we came up with the idea about a year ago, which was very, very different to what it is now. It started kind of in like events where we said there's a honeypot going on in this bar, and we thought, right, we need to move singles to this bar, and it's just like a mini event. You're anonymous when you go there. We haven't rented out the bar and anything. It's a normal bar environment. But we just tried to push people to a location. We realised the concept wasn't working because people were struggling to sort of break the ice with other people, and we thought, right, and we were very much anti-dating app. It was all about hashtag ditch the dating apps, and we wanted to get people more face-to-face. We realised people were struggling to make connections with other people who were there in that event. We went full circle and realised, right, okay, we need an app to connect people. How are we going to get these people talking when they're in the same location? So then we sort of, as I said, went full circle. We were an app, and that was the first pivot that came into play, where we sort of realised that we put honeypots on the locations, be it the coffee shop, the bar, the club, and people would check in to the coffee shop, the bar, the club, and meet people there and then. But there was another pivot after that of where we've got to right now, and I'll explain what the honeypot kind of is. It's using this Geofence technology, which I'll talk about. But the problem we were having when we were introducing the concept of people checking into a coffee shop or a bar is there might be 3 other people checked into a coffee shop, and you check in on your phone, that person's single, that person's also single, and then it brings in the whole safety aspect of everything where it's a little bit threatening and it's a bit too much to be able to do that. The technology we're using for this dating app is using geofences, so it's completely map-based, and you see, it opens up just like Uber, and you see where these honeypots are. So a honeypot is an area like Farringdon, Soho, Clapham, Brixton, and it's an invisible boundary that you can see on a map of where you're allowed to check into. So you see, you can only check in when you're inside the honeypot. So that's the whole technology behind it, and only works when you're in that place. So you can only check in when you're actually there.
Absolutely. So you actually have to be in the geographical location.
Yes, correct.
And you have to actually check in. So it's when you're consciously wanting to go
Yes.
on a date right there.
Correct. So people say, well, how are you different to the other dating apps? Well, the other dating apps there'll be a radius around you, and wherever you go in London, it follows you around where you go and it pulls people in. But the major difference is the fact that those people you see on the apps, you're constantly swiping, and they haven't made that decision to say I'm available right now. So that active, conscious decision to check in, stating right now I'm also free, connecting you with also those fairly spontaneous people at that moment in time, makes it very different. So I think, and it's of course double opt-in, you get in touch with people who are also on it, but they've got to accept you as well. So you send like a little nudge to them, they've got to either say yes or no, and then if you match, you can message each other in order to meet up.
Amazing. So it's gone from the idea of being random events to specific
honeypots,
bars,
then
locations.
to areas.
And now we've got communities.
Yes,
which
exactly.
Is amazing.
Well, yes, so to pretty much areas, and it makes the check-ins higher. Gives people a little bit more choice because the check-ins will be higher. But on that point of choice, which I found, we've done a bit of research actually into how dating apps work. And I really believe the amount of choice on current dating apps, it's now a bit of a robotic procedure in our heads that's been built into our brain of swiping. We say either yes or no to someone within 0.2 seconds of seeing someone. So the abundance of choice is hindering our ability to meet, because we think in our heads there is someone else that might be, someone else better that might be just one swipe away. So we don't give people the time of day. We are trying to get people to meet in a much more friendly way, where it is, where you do give people a chance and actually get more face-to-face and maybe have 15, 20 minutes with them to see if you like them. You actually, if you've got a spark, within 90 seconds.
Absolutely.
So why should we should just meet more people, give them the time of day and go from there, rather than obviously giving it the whole evening, and then if you get yourself on a terrible date and you can't get out, it's pretty bad.
So how many people in the room here at Tide have actually used a dating app before?
Okay.
Cool, I'm sure.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, yeah, perfect. Okay,
Brilliant.
So half-ish. Okay, brilliant. And how many of you have had a difficult, not so fun date that you kind of wish you hadn't prepped for? Val's admitting to it. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So with this, you're resolving that issue.
Well, correct. And there is not an excuse with Honeypot to get out of it. We just want to connect more people and find those people who have a tendency to be like, oh, I'm a bit spontaneous right now. Let's go for it. And the way we are very much anti-swiping, and lots of dating apps out there they say, oh, I'm also anti-swiping. There's no swiping. They've just changed the swipe technology to a like or a no. That's the same thing as swiping. But what we do is when you check in, we show you absolutely everyone that meets your criteria when you check in. So you will see, you don't need to make a decision on every person you see. Show you, let's say there's 30 people that are also checked in that meet your criteria. You then have a certain amount of approaches. So we're trying to gamify it in a way which makes it as real life as possible. So a bit like being in a normal bar vibe, who would you approach? So let's see 30 people, you've got 5 approaches each day. So you've got to sort of choose these approaches wisely of who you're going to sort of get in touch with. Absolutely. Then that other person who receives your approach has the opportunity to either say yes or no. Absolutely. So you've got to be realistic. I'm not saying, keep to your standards. I'm not saying that. I'm just keeping,
They're the kind of people that you would approach and get in real life, which is brilliant. So no, that's really exciting. So what kind of inspired you to found this?
Lack of girlfriend, probably.
Thank you for being honest.
My co-founders and I were just thinking, there must be a much more efficient way to meet people. It's so formal, it's so stressful. It's actually quite boring now. You get the odd match through on the other apps, and you don't really care. I don't personally. It's just like what the chances of actually meeting that person is so low. There must be a better way to do it, and it sort of sparked the idea when me and Matt were called an Uber one time, and we waited sort of 8 minutes for it, and we just thought, you do that with dating, meeting new people. Why can't you just meet someone for a drink like that? Why not? There must be a way to do it. There's nothing out there, and we came up with this. Really, it's been a bit of a ride to get to this stage. Obviously, with the number of pivots we've had. But yeah, the main thing is lack of girlfriend, I've got to be honest.
Lack of girlfriend, absolutely. Well, I feel like a lot of us are in the same boat, so no, that's fantastic. We can jump on board. So in terms of, you said it was quite a journey getting there. When you're coming across, what's been your greatest challenge and then your greatest achievement?
Greatest challenge? Probably last year when we were talking to people about the idea and the concept behind what we're trying to do, people were a bit daunted by it. They were like, oh, I can't do that, 20 minutes later meeting someone new on my lunch break for a Pret sandwich, that sounds far too scary, that's daunting for me. But then the more we've sort of rammed it down their throats, sort of introduced it to more people are becoming more understanding because we are so time poor now. We live fast-paced lives, we don't have huge amounts of time on our hands, we don't want to give up a whole evening, and people are becoming more receptive to actually this way of meeting new people. So that was a challenge at the start, and there are a few people from time to time that say, well, that's quite out there, but hey, that's kind of what we stand
Absolutely.
for. Yeah.
And what's your greatest achievement?
Greatest achievement was probably when we realised when we went full circle and we needed an app, and we thought, well, we're not hugely technical, we understand bits, but we need an app and we can't make an app. We don't have the skill set just to be able to make an app like that. We need to raise money. So we went at it when we thought, well, how are we going to do this? We don't know anyone with hugely deep pockets to help us get this off the ground. The VCs wouldn't look at us because, of course, we've got no traction, no concepts, no app, no prototype, nothing, absolutely nothing. So we thought, well, let's try and leverage people we know and tap into our friends, and by leveraging the power of the crowd. So we crowdfunded the idea, went out to our personal networks and got people putting in from as little as £10 to £1,000 of our friends, and went at it that way and managed to raise 120 grand in 9 days. They did believe in us as well because we had such vision for what we wanted to do. But yeah, that was probably the greatest thing. Literally, it was a landing page, an idea, a vision, and probably an extremely big ego. And that's how we got to the stage.
I mean, that's all you need as an entrepreneur, isn't it? That's literally amazing. Congratulations. Where's the first honeypot going to be?
First honeypot is Clapham.
Fantastic.
So that is the biggest honeypot.
I'm from Clapham, so that's very exciting for me.
Yes, first honeypot Clapham. It's the biggest one. It incorporates the big sort of Clapham South area, Common, North and Junction. So it's a big honeypot for sure. But of course, we want to really drill down deep to start with there, and grow it from there. And the way we're sort of launching this around London is, yes, we're starting with Clapham, but all the other honeypots will remain locked. So there's a voting feature within the app, so we can sort of measure the demand and see where the users and the community are wanting to unlock the honeypots. So they're all locked. As soon as they hit a certain amount of votes, they'll automatically go live. So there's a share feature in the app as well to help encourage spread that
So you're going to be growing leaps and bounds.
Well, it's the plan, yes.
So one of the first decisions that you made kind of back last year, I believe,
yes,
and was choosing to bank with Tide for your business.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Where did you find Tide?
It was
about us that you liked?
I was just sort of, wanted to open up a business bank account and did a bit of Google work, and first thing that popped up, you guys are very much, your identity is small business banking, and that just, saw that you were UK based, it was all very English and it made sense to me.
We love that, thank you.
Yeah.
And so what is it about Tide that you like in terms of features, or is there any feedback that you'd like to give to the team whilst they're here?
Branding's spot on, marketing's very good. You guys are really doing a good job on that. See it on the tubes now. I actually tweeted a photo of the tube thing. And your
members of them
the founder retweeted it. I was like, get in.
Yes,
George. I like the brand. I like the feature. I lost the card one time and I froze it. I didn't realise that was on there, which was really cool. Couldn't do that with a HSBC business account. So, and it's a very small thing, but I like the gold thing. When you're looking down your wallet, and you're like, it's nice.
The gold around the outside of the card,
yes.
It is really cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for telling us more about Honeypot. Guys, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask George?
Obviously, you're about to launch, but I wanted to ask you what's the vision for Honeypot, and you're starting with some areas in London. Do you plan to expand?
We do. We're definitely planning to expand, and we've built this in a way where it's scalable very quickly. So we have the ability to pop up a honeypot in Sydney within 3 minutes just by drawing on these geofences, and it appears in the app. But I think the force behind getting the users is down to the marketing. And we can really channel the marketing into these predetermined areas that we've mapped out. So next stop, well, we're really going to drill down deep in London. Next stop is university campuses. So every university campus in the country will have a honeypot around the campus. And then other major UK cities. I'd like to get to the stage where the community are actually, and the users on it, have the ability to be like, oh, there's no honeypot here. They can draw one, it lasts 24 hours, and then they're sort of the owner of that honeypot. So it's sort of claiming territory. It could be quite a cool way to have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely, I love
like,
that.
That's my honeypot.
Yeah,
exactly.
taking that, absolutely. Anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah.
As you are saying, you are planning to scale up very quickly, and probably the marketing would cost similar amount as a product development. Are you planning another kind of a crowdfunding round? So you're looking to VCs?
We've had a few VCs get in touch, but at this stage, you know, our first round was effectively pre-seed because you know we didn't have a product, we didn't have anything. We will be looking at a seed round. Probably with a VC.
And branding is quite important to you in terms of we were checking out your Instagram.
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
About
So
you guys as founders.
correct. So we run our Instagram in a very different way to your usual startup. We treat it more as a personal account. You know, they're following the story of what we're up to because lots of people have seen this from the beginning. They've seen the pivots. And we have fun with it. We want to come across as relatable London singles. This has been born and made in London. This hasn't been some American dating app that's now launching huge in London. It's very much organically growing from people who are frustrated with dating apps.
Absolutely. Well, no, it's very much like Tide in a way, isn't it? I feel like, well, we were built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs.
Yes,
so
correct.
It's very much the idea that our founder was very frustrated with his banking experience. So he therefore made his own. Yeah, exactly. So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, indeed.
Brilliant. Anyone else have any other questions they'd like to?
How did you pick your initial location? And how do you, I mean, you say that you've got some ideas of university campuses, but how do you decide, where location?
Yes, so we look at density of people in a place. So the more central you get, the honeypots actually get smaller because the density of people is greater. We wanted to make, when users are fairly low, we needed to make the honeypots fairly big so it incorporates the residential areas. So Clapham being the first one, we've looked at the demographic of the person we would want to be on it. We realised that is the spot. I think that would be the best place to launch it. Also, one of the co-founders lives there, just to get this out there. But we look at it. We were mapping them around sort of tube stations, and they were a lot smaller. But we didn't want to have it where someone opens up Honeypot and they're like, "Well, I can't check in." You know, we want to make it accessible. And in the early stages, they'll be greater. They'll be quite large, and then as we grow, they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller, so it literally is a 2-minute walk to that person within the honeypot. Yeah.
And it's that idea that you really could have bumped into them on the street or meeting.
Correct.
So close to it.
It is. Yeah.
That is perfect. Love it. Hi, Gita.
Are you targeting a certain age group, certain type of professionals? Is there any sort of...
In terms of age, I think it's about 21 to 30 at this stage. We will look to definitely, go younger, and also go older. But I think it's best we sort of target what we're doing right now because all of our marketing is related to that age. But in terms of other verticals and other angles on the concept, we are looking at things like making friends as well, people, a mental health section of the app as well, if you want to just talk to someone for 5 minutes. Also a business putting these honeypots on conferences. So there's lots of angles we can go down to sort of cater different needs. But yeah, to start with, it'll be about 21 to 30, I think.
Okay, fantastic.
Good.
Well, George, thank you so much for
thank you
joining
guys
us.
for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.